Hello guys, look at this. Full super in seconds. So much fun. I'm using the new Super Song of Flame. I like it a lot. Gives you a lot of resistance and you do a lot of damage. And it's fun to use. We can have this crazy amount of super energy back due to the new intrinsic perk from the new Pale Heart weapons, Dealer's Choice. It reads, final blows with this weapon grant a small amount of super energy. Equipping multiple weapons from the Pale Heart increases the effect. Guys, it's not that small. With 3 weapons equipped, you get this crazy super energy back per kill. But now you're thinking, I don't want to be stuck to a limited set of weapons, and I'm with you, I hate that. But the Pale Heart weapons, they are very good. Let me talk about my 2 favorites. The Call is a rocket sidearm. It's so good. And the new auto rifle, No Hesitation, is amazing. If you are playing in a team, you can shoot your allies and heal them, and while doing so, you also get restoration to yourself. Just look at this. I'm getting low on health, I shoot my teammate, I heal them, and I also heal myself via restoration. It's an awesome weapon. I have mine with incandescent, so I really like it. And you can use the machine gun. The machine gun is also a nice one. So even though the perk Dealer's Choice is the main star here, I tried to enhance it even further, so I made a build for it. I put on my Mantle of Battle Harmony. Final blows with weapons matching your equipped super damage type grant you super energy. When your super energy is full, you instead gain a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that time. Now, this last part we won't be using that much. The loop here is you use your Dealer's Choice weapons to try to get as much super as you can when you kill enemies, so you get your super really fast. Of course, the clip you saw in the beginning, that won't be happening every single time. That was a control environment with lots of enemies around me and close together, but every single time you do a kill and you have these 3 weapons equipped, you get tons of super back, so your super regeneration is through the roof. And because there's a ton of super regeneration, you can head clear most of the times with your super. You can start a room and use your super. That's really strong. So we're going to be focusing around Song of Flame as our super of choice, and I use Phoenix Dive because it has a shorter cooldown. Arcane Needle so I can unravel targets, and Vortex Grenade because we are going to choose a fragment that will allow us to weaken enemies with Void Grenades. Aspects are Feed the Void, amazing aspect, gives you Devour when you kill enemies with abilities, and while you have Devour, any kill will give you health and grenade energy. And our second aspect is Alien. When we use our class ability, we get a Solar Body, a mortar that shoots enemies and scorch them. Fragments are Facet of Courage. Your Arc, Solar and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted by darkness. Facet of Purpose, because we have a Solar Super, when we pick Orbs of Power we get Restoration. Facet of Protection, when surrounded by enemies we are more resistant to incoming damage. Facet of Hope, while we have an elemental buff, our class ability regenerates faster. And Facet of Dominance, our Void Grenades weaken targets. On our artifact, I want to focus on 3 for this build. Void Hegemony, while we have a Void or Prismatic subclass, defeating weakened targets grants a small Void overshield. Radiant Orbs, while on a Solar or Prismatic subclass, picking an Orb of Power makes us Radiant. And Shield Crush, when we have a Void overshield, our melee regen faster and do more damage. And while we have Radiant, our grenade regen faster and do more damage. So this way, melee and grenade will regen faster and do more damage. Awesome. Stats and mods wise, I did something a bit different with this one. I went with 100 resilience, as we always should go for, but instead I only went with 70 recovery, and because it's a super build, I went with 70 intellect. You will see why. On the helmet, I went with 2 harmonic siphons, so now when I rapidly kill 2 enemies, I generate an orb that will give us 3.25% of our super bag. And I went with Font of Wisdom. Fonts will give us 30 points in that specific stat. So in this case, 30 points in intellect. I have 70, and now when I'm charged with light, I will have 70 plus 30, so 100. That's why I made my build with 70 stats. Our gloves will have 2 harmonic loaders, so our primary will load even faster, and 1 harmonic dexterity. This will make your weapon feel snappier. On our chest and exotic, I always go for damage resistance mods because we can't do damage if we are dead. I normally go for arc, void or solar, but now we have a lot of strand attacks and stasis attacks, so we need to cater them to the specific type of enemies we're fighting. On our boots, I went with 1 innervation and recuperation, so when we pick a nerve of power, we get health back and grenade energy, and 1 solar surge, so our auto rifle does 10% more damage when we are charged with light. Our class item has distribution. When we use our class ability near targets, we get a bit of energy back to all our abilities, even our super, that's why I chose this one, and Font of Restoration, so 30 points on recovery while charge of light, so now we have 100. And Proximity Ward, guys, just because I love Proximity Ward, I like to be close to enemies, I do a lot of finishers, this will make me survive while doing so. And this is the build. It's a faster one. I try to be a little bit faster. I don't explain things as much as I normally do in my other builds, but it's a very simple build. You basically you kill a lot of enemies with your weapons. That will give you an amazing amount of super energy back, so you can spam your super, and that's it, that's the loop. You kill a bunch of enemies and you get your super loads of times. So yeah, that's it. Fairly simple, but very, very strong. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.